If you think about it, hairstyles are an amazing thing. You can take one idea, add your own little twist to it, and completely make it your own. But it's a whole different game when that hairstyle actually comes with some benefits. What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel where I help black men better understand and embrace their natural curly hair. In today's video, we're going over four protective styles that scream masculinity. Bro, if you get these styles, bro, you will become the talk of the town, bro. You will be the head hog at the trough, bro. It's almost cheating. You're cheating. It ain't even gonna be fair for the other guys, bro. I'm telling you. The timestamps will be down below, so without further ado, let's get right into it. But first, what exactly is a protective style? A protective style is any hairstyle that tucks away the ends of your hair and limits manipulation. Before this list, I actually want to add a third criteria, which is convenience. Because let's be honest, us guys, we're not going to be running around with bantu knots and wigs on our heads. I want to provide some actual valuable advice to all the other guys out there, because not a lot of us were taught these kind of things. I want you to be proud of your hair and take care of it without feeling emasculated. So with that out of the way, let's start with number 4 on this list, because it does have a particular order, which is the man bun. So some of you guys might actually be surprised that the man bun made it onto this list, because it's not necessarily the first thing that pops into your head when you say the words protective style. But as I was researching for this video, I had to get very creative. Like honestly, bro, there are zero sites directed towards black men. Well, except Minority Redefined, which is a clothing brand dedicated to men's afro hair, hosted by moi, link in the description. But honestly though, there was a very limited amount of sites that actually gave relevant information, and if it was somewhat relevant, it was often highly whitewashed. I did, however, find a lot of information related to black women, and one of the things that I noticed, a common theme, or which was recommended as a protective style, was the high bun, high puff, or the pineapple puff, or whatever you want to call it. They have a lot of names. So naturally, I thought the male equivalent would be the man bun, and I think that's a pretty fair assumption. You know, we got to use a little bit of creative thinking, a little critical analysis up in here. Now, you may have noticed that this style doesn't really do a good job at protecting your ends, which is one of the reasons that it's so low in this list. But we can't ignore the fact that it does require so much less maintenance. Is that grammatically correct? It requires much less effort to maintain a man bun rather than a full voluminous afro. Now, if you want to learn how to put your hair into a bun, I actually give a pretty detailed demonstration in one of my previous videos, which you can find somewhere in this vicinity. Another reason that the man bun is pretty low on this list is because of its barrier to entry. Your hair definitely has to be a certain length in order to pull off this style. In fact, I'm 2+ years into my hair journey, and I wasn't able to put my hair into a man bun or one that actually looked nice until just recently. Now, there is a way around this if you have the, for lack of better words, confidence. Something that I used to do since my hair wasn't long enough yet, I would put my hair into 2 little Mickey Mouse puffs. If I find a photo, I'll put a photo. If I don't find a photo, well, obviously you won't see the photo. Come on, we just talked about critical thinking. But the great thing about putting your hair into one big puff or sectioning it off into tinier little puffs is it takes much less effort to maintain it. I mean, it's kind of like reading a book. It's much easier to read chapter by chapter than to read it all in one go. So if I was going to give this hairstyle a rating based on our criteria of convenience and all of that, I'd probably give it somewhat of a 3.5, mainly because it's really easy to do. It's really easy to do, but it doesn't really fulfill the requirements of a protective style. But it's a great idea if you want to try it out. Heading straight to number 3 on this list is 2-strand twists. Personally, 2-strand twists are my favorite style when it comes to aesthetics. And that's mainly because it's very easy to learn how to do by yourself. I mean, all you have to do is take 2 strands and wrap them around each other and then just twirl it at the end. And basically you have a 2-strand twist. Now, I'll say it does a good job, but it doesn't do a great job. And I'll explain that in a second. Now, I know 2-strand twists are really good for starter dreads, so that might be a reason why so many guys like it. You're not going to get judged for wearing this style as you would for using Mickey Mouse puffs. Now, I said that 2-strand twists were good for protective styling, but they weren't great. And here's why I say that. And that is because there is a higher risk of them unraveling. As I said earlier, the method for two-strand twisting is actually relatively easy. However, it's not as effective as braiding. And because it's so easy for the ends to unravel after 1 or 2 weeks, that effectively defeats the purpose of protective styling. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to talk you out of getting two-strand twists. In fact, I love the hairstyle. I just think there are better alternatives when it comes to protective styling as well as you just looking great. And this actually brings me to number 2 on our list, which is box braids or triangle braids or any type of braids that show off hang time. This is a style that I stand by religiously. Now, I actually didn't mention this point when I was talking about two-strand twists, but another reason that I don't get two-strand twists as much as I get box braids is the shrinkage. And if you don't know what shrinkage is, don't worry, I got you. It's simply the decrease in your hair's perceived length as it goes from wet to dry. Now, I'm not saying that box braids are immune to shrinkage or that two-strand twists always have shrinkage. Obviously, the results are going to vary depending on who braids your hair, whether you blow dry it or not. What I'm trying to say is, I think braids are the better alternative because of the technique that is used. Since braids are, for lack of a better word, roped together, it makes it so much harder for them to unravel. So those were just a few reasons why box braids made it so high on the list, but I'm sure a lot of you know what number 1 is, but we're still gonna keep the suspense. But before we reveal the number 1 protective hairstyle that I think every guy should get or at least experiment with, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to give it a like. I post men's afro hair content just like this every single week. I'm also very active on Instagram, where you can find everything that didn't make it to YouTube. The links to all my socials will be down in the description. But back on track, the number 1 protective hairstyle that screams masculinity are cornrows. Yes, whoop-de-doo, big surprise, we all saw it coming. I would say this is definitely the most common protective style that I see being used for guys. And I think that's partly due to the different styles and variations. There's a lot of creativity that goes into these hairstyles. And if you don't believe me, go on Pinterest or on Instagram. Oftentimes when I find a hairstyle that I really like, I might share it on my story. So that's another reason for you to go follow me. You can see the effort that people put into these styles, and it's honestly amazing. Now, some people can argue that cornrows or other hairstyles that are braided close to the scalp have this disadvantage, and that is it's very easy for you to see new hair growth. And because of this, week 3 cornrows are gonna look very different from week 1. Like I said, a lot of people see this as a disadvantage, but I actually cover a clever way that you can combat this in one of my previous videos, which is how to escape the awkward stage. And I'll put the card somewhere up here. You know, I'm just dropping little goodies for you guys. But if we're strictly talking about masculinity, I feel like this is a perfect style for you to get. And a bonus tip, something that's often separated from this and the man bun, is that it has a very low barrier of entry. Meaning, if you're patient, you can get cornrows about 3 months into your hair journey, which is very different from the man bun, which can take over a year. And there you have it. Those were 4 protective hairstyles that scream masculinity. But before you go, let's do a very brief recap to reinforce what you've learned. In 4th place, we had the man bun. And although it's technically not a protective style, we did mention how it takes much less effort to maintain a high puff rather than a full afro. In spot number 3, we talked about two-strand twists and how they fix the issue of protecting your ends. However, it's very easy for them to unravel throughout the weeks. For number 2, we talked about box braids and how they show off hang time and limit shrinkage. But for number 1, the beast of all protective hairstyles for men, we concluded was cornrows. If you found any value in this video, please give it a like. It really helps the algorithm bring my videos to the right people. If you're just starting your hair journey and you're frustrated with how disorganized YouTube can be, I actually offer a free men's afro hair checklist covering 10 actionable tips to take your afro to the next level. If you want this free downloadable PDF, did I mention it was free? It will be one of the first links in the description. And if you like this video, you might actually enjoy this one, so I advise you check it out. That's all for me, and I'll see you next time.